Most people know Geronimo as something you might say jumping off or charging towards something, but that phrase wasn't used until a time leading to World War II when American paratroopers were jumping off of an aircraft. However, this is not where the term first came from. Geronimo was the name of an influential rebel, a courageous leader of the Apache tribe, and a leader in the essence of his being. At birth, he was originally named Gyathle, meaning the one who yawns. It was later he took on the name Geronimo. Early on, his parents taught him the ways of the Apache Indians. His father taught him how to hunt and be a warrior, as well as his 3 brothers. His mother taught his 4 sisters about cooking and taking care of camp. He grew up in a very religious family, worshiping the Native American god Usan. The time in which he grew up was a rare time of peace for the Apaches. Like his grandfather, he had an above-average physical ability, leadership skills, and courage. By the age of 17, he had already led 4 successful ratings. Around the same time, he fell in love with a woman named Alope, who he married and had 3 children with. He took on the responsibilities as a chief of his tribe at age 17, following in his grandfather's footsteps. In 1858, Geronimo was going on a journey to trade with a nearby tribe and left his wife and children behind with the rest of the tribe. Meanwhile, Mexican soldiers invaded the camp and killed his mother, wife, and all 3 children. When Geronimo came back, he was enraged and devastated. This is what he said when he found this destruction when he came back. "I had no weapon, nor did I heartily wish to fight. Neither did I contemplate recovering the bodies of my loved ones, for that was forbidden. I did not pray, nor did I resolve to do anything in particular, for I had no purpose left." This made him loathe the Mexicans more than he ever had before. Not long after this, he led an assault on a group of Mexicans with what soldiers he had left from his tribe. Geronimo attacked and evaded both Mexican and U.S. troops, vowing to kill as many white men as he could. He was ruthless and didn't hesitate to immediately kill any white man or Mexican, no matter what. Tormented white settlers in the American West were known to frighten their misbehaving children with the threat that Geronimo would come for them. Both Mexican and American governments were after him, and still he successfully evaded them for over 25 years. It was the American government that eventually caught him. He was captured by Captain H.W. Lawton and Assistant Surgeon Leonard Wood in 1886. President Cleveland wanted him to be hanged, but he was revered by the public, so instead, he was sentenced to life in prison. At first, he was sent to Fort Pickens in Pensacola, Florida, under heavy guard. He was later moved to Fort Sill in Oklahoma and spent the rest of his days there. When he died, he was nearly 80 years old, born in 1829 and died in 1909. They buried him in a Native American cemetery in respect for his heritage. So, why was he important? Geronimo had a huge impact not only on the Native American people, but the American public as well. He inspired others to stand up and defy, no matter if it's looked down upon. History is known to be written by the victors, but in this case, it's quite the opposite. He was defeated and captured, but today, he's still not only remembered, but people look up to him with awe because of what he did achieve. This is proof that he had a large role in American history. People look up to him as a rebel. However, thoughts about him were very controversial. Some wanted him dead or imprisoned, while others looked up to him as an idol, doing the undoable. Because of his frequent attacks on any white man, this includes innocent settlers, many or all settlers feared him. They feared his attacks and lack of empathy. While his tribe was very loyal to him and honored him greatly, not all Indians appreciated his rebellion. There were tribes that went peacefully into the reservations, and Geronimo made them look more suspicious, therefore limiting their freedoms even more. This also made it harder for Indians that wanted to escape their reservations. Still, many Native Americans looked up to him and his free-fighting spirit. President Cleveland wanted him dead. He was always causing problems and complications for the government. This caused the president to have no respect for Geronimo and to consider him a savage. Opinions of the American public were very controversial. Some, like the president, believed him to be a savage without emotions or morals. They doubted his religion because they didn't understand why he did what he did. On the other hand, many Americans believed him to be a hero. They saw him as an idol, protecting what he considered his land, never giving up. Geronimo became leader of his tribe at a very young age. He led his tribe in so many different circumstances, and still, he and his tribe succeeded to evade the U.S. and Mexican government for over 25 years. He led his tribe through a short time of peace. All he had to do then was help with raids, trading trips, and hunting trips. After that, he led them through a time of revenge, killing any white man he came into contact with. Then he led them through a time of fleeing, being captured and then escaping over and over again. And finally, he led them through a time of defeat. They were captured and placed into forts as prisoners of war. Through the whole time, they all stayed loyal to him. Like his grandfather, he had incredible leadership skills. I was warmed by the sun, rocked by the winds, and sheltered by the trees as other Indian babes. I was living peaceably when people began to speak bad of me. Now I can eat well, sleep well, and be glad. I can go everywhere with a good feeling. In this quote, Geronimo describes how he climbed up the social scale. He started like every other person, and then people started to become jealous or felt he wasn't worthy. And eventually, they started to respect him. It shows how his confidence grew as he got older and achieved more and more things. The soldiers never explained to the government when an Indian was wronged, but reported the misdeeds of Indians. We took an oath not to do anything wrong to each other or to scheme against each other. This quote shows how Geronimo felt about the ways Native Americans were treated. He says that soldiers never tell people when the Indians weren't the ones doing something bad, but they would tell people at every chance they got about all the bad things that the Native Americans did. I cannot think that we are useless, or God would not have created us. There is one God looking down on us all. We are all the children of one God. The sun, the darkness, the winds are all listening to what we have to say. This quote perfectly reflects Geronimo's religious beliefs. He originated from a very religious family, so it's no wonder he was such a religious man. He believed always to do things for God, because God was always watching through everything he had created. When a child, my mother taught me to kneel and pray to Usan for strength, health, wisdom, and protection. Sometimes we prayed in silence. Sometimes each one prayed aloud. Sometimes an aged person prayed for all of us and to Usan. This quote also reflects his religiousness, but shows the origins of his beliefs as well. He mentions that his mother is the one that taught him about Usan, the Apache equal to God, and the religious customs of his tribe and family. I was born on the prairies, where the wind blew free and there was nothing to break the light of the sun. I was born where there were no enclosures. This quote shows the great awe and respect that Geronimo had for the lands he considered his. It also shows where he got his spirit from, the freeness of his personality and will. Geronimo left a legacy of inspiration for all the people when he died. He inspired people to do things to defend what they believed was theirs. Now, Geronimo wasn't exactly an angel in his manners of achieving this, but he stayed resilient, giving everything his all and never stopped fighting. He did bad things, but that's not the only way of doing things. He could have chosen a different path to achieve the same thing. However, that's not the path he chose. As a result, many people were killed or hurt. But people still look up to him. He was a sign to the people, a sign that if they tried hard, they could make things and opinions change.